I'm just an honest guy. Yet I somehow ended up picking up a beautiful girlfriend. However, my girlfriend is deaf. So I have no choice but to work 3 jobs a day to support her. But who would have thought I'd unexpectedly see her sitting in a private room at a high-end club, chatting and laughing with effortless charm. Someone beside her asked how much longer she planned to keep pretending. She smiled absent-mindedly. When Makoto comes back to the country, I'll give him a few million as breakup compensation. He'll naturally disappear. So I was just the stand-in for a rich heiress's true love. I pinched my thigh and turned to leave, only to bump into her even more stunning best friend when I turned around. She sneered at me. Stop pretending. The corners of your mouth are practically reaching your ears. Chapter 1. I eyed the beauty in front of me warily. I don't understand what you're talking about. In truth, I was secretly admiring the curves beneath her silk dress. Willow's delicate face tightened under my gaze, her expression growing even colder and more aloof. You probably didn't expect this. Sophia had someone report your whereabouts to her so she could sneak out to drink and go clubbing. I was startled and shot back. That someone wouldn't happen to be you, would it? The corner of her lips lifted slightly, her clear, cool eyes tilting upward with a hint of mockery. Your so-called working 3 jobs a day to earn money for her treatment, is that wandering the streets from morning till noon, then spending a comfortable afternoon gaming at an internet cafe, and finally playing 2 hours of basketball at night before going home. Cold sweat broke out on my back. She found all that out. In front of Sophia, my persona was that of a poor yet resilient boyfriend who loved her to the bone. In the morning, I handed out flyers. In the afternoon, I worked at a restaurant. At night, I collected recyclables. By the time I got home, I'd be drenched in sweat, so exhausted I couldn't lift a finger. After slaving away for a month, I'd hand her 2,000 yuan for her medical treatment. Sophia fell for that act completely. Not only would she take care of all the housework, she'd even dote on me at night and help me rest. Damn it. I thought this heaven-sent lifestyle would last a little longer. I looked up, testing Willow. What do you want? She stepped closer, her flawless face right in front of mine, letting out a low laugh. Sophia really isn't a good person. I'm not here to condemn you, and I won't tell her. I snapped out of the visual shock and swallowed. Then what do you mean? George, dump her and date me instead. If you're worried, you can take me for a full medical check too. It took me quite a while to process that. Wait, what exactly are you after? A smile flickered in Willow's eyes as one brow arched. I'm after your good looks, your intelligence, and your talent. Well, that explains it. Only human nature, after all. Chapter 2. The rain on the day I picked up Sophia was even more romantic and tragic than in a TV drama. Since ancient times, picking up random women has never ended well. But that day, my heart felt like a damp, moldy corner. It just happened to resonate with the pitiful Sophia. According to her story, she had a gambling addict father and a cowardly mother. At 3 in the morning, she was kicked out of the house. She claimed she had suffered domestic violence for years, lost her hearing later in life, and needed a large sum of money for treatment. Honestly, even back then I felt her story was full of holes. Her skin was smooth and delicate, without even a trace of calluses on her hands. Though she wore cheap street stall clothes, they carried the distinct scent of brand new fabric. And with that face of hers, how could she possibly fail to make money anywhere? At worst, she was a fallen rich heiress down on her luck. But what can I say? I'm just an honest man, one willing to hit, one willing to take it. I half reluctantly, half willingly started dating her. On the very first day we got together, I took her to the hospital for a full checkup. That very night, I even used a flashlight to inspect every inch of her body. Sophia's body was tense, blushing. She typed on her phone to ask what I was doing, obviously checking whether you had any diseases. After confirming everything again and again, I bit down on her lips. I whispered countless dirty lines into her ear. After all, she couldn't hear them anyway. Her body was stiff as a board, the tips of her ears down to her neck flushed bright red. That night was wild, an excellent experience. From then on, it became me handling things outside while she managed everything at home. The truth was, I actually had savings and had even bought an apartment. I started drawing original comics in college and gradually gained some recognition. After they were adapted for film and television, I made quite a bit of money. But wealth shouldn't be flaunted. I told no one. Even my parents thought I was barely scraping by. Sophia had clearly approached me with some ulterior motive. I treated it as a mutually beneficial exchange. But if she wanted me to give more, not a chance. After all, neither of us was exactly a good person. Chapter 3. By the time I got home, it was already late at night. The moment I opened the door, Sophia threw herself into my arms, wearing the loungewear I bought for her. Her eyes were red as she held up her phone. Why didn't you answer your phone? Do you know how worried I was? I was exhausted all over, lifting my lifeless eyes to scrutinize her. Her expression gradually turned confused, and she typed again. What's wrong? I lowered my voice. Miss Lou, did you have fun? How much longer are you planning to lie to me? Playing me, your stand-in, was it amusing? Sophia froze for a moment, then typed again. George, did you misunderstand something? My smile shattered, as if I had never truly seen this person before. I saw it with my own eyes at the club today. Are you still going to lie to me? After a long silence, she took a step back. Her expression was complicated, her voice slightly hoarse. In an instant, she transformed from a pitiful kitten into a reserved and aloof heiress. What were you doing at the club? See, even at a time like this. Her first reaction was to question me. My shoulders slumped weakly. I pulled a pale yellow envelope from my bag and threw it at her face. For the 1,000 yuan I earned for your treatment. Are you satisfied now? The envelope fell to the ground, revealing the corner of the cash inside. Her lips pressed tightly together, her pupils shifting slightly. Was it moved emotion or anger? I bumped past her shoulder and headed toward the bedroom. Sophia grabbed my wrist, her tone turning cold. I never intended to lie to you forever, right? Once your true love returns, the stand-in, can naturally get lost. I understand. I'll compensate you. The moment I heard those two words, I violently shook off her hand. Compensate? So in the eyes of you rich people, my sincerity can be measured with money, right? Then tell me, Miss Lou, how much do you think what I gave is worth? She lowered her eyes and said nothing more. I pointed toward the door. Now, please leave. After entering the room and locking the door, my expression instantly changed. I must have played the devoted, honest guy pretty well just now, right? I wonder if she'll give a bit more. Not long after, I heard the sound of the front door closing. She had left. I hurried out. Sure enough, there was a bank card on the coffee table. A note was pressed beneath it. There's 10 million in the card. Take good care of yourself from now on. 10 million. A full 10 million. As if she had timed it perfectly. Willow called me. She's gone. Right. I'll come help you move. I was speechless. Isn't that a bit rushed? Willow's voice was soft and meaningful. You wouldn't want her to regret it, would you? Move immediately. Chapter 4. A few days later, I held her medical examination report in my hand, my expression slightly dazed. So, we're together now. Willow sat on the sofa reading documents. She didn't even lift her head when she heard that. Otherwise, I muttered, shouldn't we at least get to know each other first? Even Sophia and I didn't move this fast. Heh, you call that plastic relationship of mutual deception, getting to know each other? Hey, don't talk about my former cash cow like that. What do you want to know? I studied abroad, came back to inherit the family business, had one relationship, clean private life. I'll give you 500,000 a month. Anything else? I was speechless. No, I could have just taken the money and disappeared, but Willow was truly the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in real life. For honest men like us, our downfall is always the word lust. As for why she chose me, someone with nothing but looks and talent, I didn't care that much. At most, she had some unspeakable motive, just like Sophia. Maybe her hobby was cuckolding her best friend. Or maybe she also liked that so-called true love and wanted to recycle the stand-in. But she gave me 500,000 a month, far better than Sophia, who made me pay out of pocket. What more could I ask for? Of course, I should just thank the heavens for the gift. Willow stood up. Get some rest. It's late. She pointed in a direction. Your room is over there. I instinctively grabbed her arm, confused. We're not sleeping together. What? Going full platonic? Her arm instantly tensed. She tried to appear calm, but the redness at the tips of her ears betrayed her. It's too fast. This time, I let out a cold laugh. You know I'm a comic artist. You should know creators need proper outlets. Some people go to clubs. Some people watch gore films. I'm different. I prefer. As I spoke, my gaze drifted meaningfully over her figure. Could it be that you haven't dated all these years because? Suddenly, she leaned in, pressed her lips against mine, and pulled me down onto the soft sofa. Why not find out? Just as things were heating up, the doorbell rang. Sophia's voice came from outside. Sophia, I need to talk to you. Chapter 5. I panicked for a second and instinctively pushed her. Willow acted as if she were deaf, completely ignoring it. She wrapped her arms around my neck and kissed me even deeper. Her legs straddled my waist, an overwhelming sense of possession washing over me, accompanied by Sophia's urgent knocking and impatient calls outside. Willow trembled involuntarily and bit my lip hard enough to draw blood. I pressed my lips together and whispered, "Are we really continuing? She's still outside." Willow looked up at me. Her cool eyes were swirling with desire and dissatisfaction. After taking several deep breaths, she finally stood up. I seized the chance and ran back to my room. Soon, I heard the door open and the sound of them talking. Sophia must have noticed the mark on Willow's lips. Her tone sounded uneasy. Did I interrupt something? Willow's hoarse voice carried restrained impatience. If you have something to say, say it. If not, get lost. Sophia hurriedly said. I wanted to ask if you know where George is. Oh, I don't. She grew anxious. Didn't you promise to keep an eye on her? How could you not know? You two broke up. I have no obligation to help you anymore. Sophia was choked into silence for a long while. I almost thought she had left. But then came an angry demand. Whose shirt is this? Why is it identical to George's? Is he here with you? Hurried footsteps approached in this direction. Damn it, I forgot to bring my shirt inside. I nearly stopped breathing and quickly shut the crack in the door I'd been listening through. The next second, Willow grabbed her, her tone laced with warning. Sophia, you're crossing the line. I suggest you leave immediately. Sophia finally calmed down. Sorry, on the day we broke up, I had swiftly changed all my contact information. Willow had also agreed to cover for me, just in case Sophia regretted it. I hadn't expected her to track me down here. Ridiculous. After confirming Sophia had left, I stepped out of my room. Willow was no longer in the living room. My shirt had vanished with her. I hesitated before knocking on her door. Willow, are you in there? She ignored me and simply locked the door. Now she was throwing a tantrum. She was angry that I had chickened out at the crucial moment. I felt a bit guilty, but an honest man like me really didn't have that kind of thrill-seeking kink. Even my voice softened. At least give me my shirt back. Soon, I heard the sound of the shower running inside. As my thoughts wandered, my cheeks gradually heated up. Back then, I had accidentally run into Sophia and Willow talking. When I asked about it, Sophia had lied, claiming Willow was a model trying to persuade her to go into the industry with her. Sophia said she had firmly refused, her kitten-like eyes glistening as she asked me for a reward. Naturally, I rewarded her thoroughly. Lost in the moment, I had caught a fleeting glimpse of Willow's breathtaking profile. Honest as I was, I had thought that once I broke up, I'd go to the club and persuade her to turn over a new leaf. Coming back to my senses, I slammed my fist against the door in frustration. It was all Sophia's fault. Chapter 6. I had a whole night of indescribable dreams. I walked out of my room the next morning with dark circles under my eyes, yawning non-stop. To my surprise, a lavish breakfast was already laid out on the table. It was clearly freshly made. I looked at Willow in astonishment. She was fully dressed, sitting there calmly drinking soup. She could cook. We tacitly avoided mentioning what happened yesterday and finished breakfast in silence. Just as she was about to leave, I suddenly spoke up. Where's my shirt? Willow stiffened, her gaze flickering for a brief moment. It was old. I threw it away. My eyes widened. Are you serious? I've worn it for years and never thought it was old. She lacked confidence now, her voice even sounding somewhat meek. I'll buy you 10 more. I felt slightly annoyed and looked up at her in dissatisfaction. But when I saw the redness at the tips of her ears, an idea flashed through my mind. I let out a wicked chuckle. I've heard that when a girl wears a guy's shirt, it's extra tempting. You didn't keep it to wear for me, did you? That sent her temperature soaring instantly. She mumbled something about a company meeting and fled in embarrassment. I clicked my tongue. Pretty thin-skinned. In the afternoon, the doorbell rang. Several mall employees in uniforms and white gloves respectfully carried over more than a dozen boxes. They said Willow had arranged it. When I opened them, they were all different styles of shirts. It was almost shocking. I called her immediately. She picked up quickly. Willow, what's all this? To compensate you, she answered briskly. I could practically picture her looking stiff and uncomfortable. A smile flickered in my eyes. Ahem, but I'm not very satisfied. Willow paused. Then what do you want? I casually picked up a white silk shirt and spoke in a teasing tone. I want you to wear one tonight and come to my room on your own. Click. The call was hung up instantly. I blinked, a little confused. Did that mean yes or no? Whatever. Tonight, I was definitely going to make something happen. So when the doorbell rang again, I went to open it without any guard up. The moment the door opened, surprise turned into shock. Standing outside was Sophia, her face dark and stormy. She stared at me viciously, her voice eerie. You two sure know how to have fun. Huh? Chapter 7. I reacted quickly and tried to shut the door. Sophia shoved her hand in, getting it caught hard enough that her face turned pale. She took a deep breath. George, you're ruthless. I let go. Frowning, I asked, why are you here? Hearing that only deepened the anger in her eyes. Shouldn't I be asking you that? Why are you involved with Willow? I found it baffling. Wasn't it you who created the opportunity? She kept watching me and caught feelings. Sophia looked like she might have a heart attack from anger. She took a step back, staring at me in disbelief. And you? We just broke up and you couldn't wait to find another woman. I shrugged shamelessly. Yeah, so. George, did you ever love me? She practically roared the question. I couldn't help but laugh. You didn't ask that when you were treating me as a stand-in. Why act now? Her expression shifted. As I turned away, she grabbed my arm. Let go. I snapped impatiently. George, listen to my explanation. Before she could finish, a figure rushed over. Sophia stumbled backward from the shove, barely keeping her footing. Willow stood in front of me, her gaze cold and dark. "Sophia, I warned you." Sophia didn't hesitate. She slapped Willow across the face, clearly furious. The corners of her eyes reddened. "I trusted you so damn much. How could you?" Willow showed no weakness, her tone icy. "If you didn't cherish what you had, can you blame someone else?" Sophia stared at her for a long moment, then suddenly let out a cold laugh as if realizing something. "Willow, no wonder you, a busy person, volunteered to help me with this. You had this in mind from the start, didn't you?" Willow didn't answer, she simply slapped her back. Two beautiful women fighting was admittedly quite a sight, but if they kept going, someone would end up in the hospital. I rushed forward to break them apart. "Stop it, aren't you embarrassed?" While separating them, I casually pushed Sophia away. She staggered back 2 steps and looked at me in disbelief. "George, you're siding with her?" "Of course, she's my girlfriend." That sentence froze her completely. The color drained from her face, leaving only defeat. "You've only known each other for how long?" "So what? True love has nothing to do with time." It was like she'd been stabbed again. Her eyes grew even redder. Her lips trembled as if she wanted to say more. Suddenly, Willow let out a muffled groan. I quickly supported her and helped her inside. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Willow slightly raise her brow. The corner of her lips curved towards Sophia in a provocative smile. Chapter 8. I took out the medical kit to treat Willow's wounds. When I saw the crack at the corner of her lips, my heart ached. Sigh, what if it scars? The pleased expression on Willow's face vanished instantly. She grabbed my arm, her brows pressing down. "Do you only like my face? What else would it be?" Even when she was angry, she looked even more beautiful, but I didn't dare say that. Instead, I smoothly turned the tables. "What about you? What did Sophia mean just now? What exactly are your intentions toward me?" Willow looked away. I thought she was about to dodge the question again, but instead, I heard her say clearly, "It was love at first sight." I lifted my head and met her gaze, far from innocent. My heartbeat quickened for a split second. I looked away and replied, "Only human nature." A low chuckle brushed against my ears, like strong liquor poured over ice. Damn, I had evolved from a face lover into someone captivated by both face and voice. That night, I tearfully reminded Willow to go to bed early. All because of that jinx. Sophia. Chapter 9. I hadn't been idle for long before my editor started urging me to begin the second installment. After wavering between slacking off and getting to work for a few minutes, I decisively got up and turned on my computer. Money given by others always carries the risk of being taken back. Money earned by yourself truly belongs to you. So I returned to my nocturnal schedule, often not even crossing paths with Willow. One day, she knocked on my door. I was yawning endlessly, somewhat annoyed. "What is it?" Willow stood there, her figure graceful and striking, a white dress accentuating her tall, refined elegance. Just standing there, she looked like a protagonist stepping out of a comic, but I merely glanced once before looking away. The exhaustion from work had long replaced any worldly desire. Even if she stripped bare in front of me right now, I would probably just drape a coat over her and tell her to take her madness elsewhere. Willow lowered her eyes at me. "Are you drawing the second part of Curved Blade?" I froze. "How did you know?" "I'm your fan." She said it so directly that I didn't quite know how to respond. As for how she found out, she probably discovered it while secretly stalking me. I often worked on my drafts at internet cafes. After hesitating for a moment, Willow spoke softly. "Can I take a look?" I looked up at her and noticed her entire ear was red. What kind of new flirting excuse was this? I held back a laugh. "Then come in. I'm unsure about a few details anyway. Help me take a look." I had only meant it as polite talk, but her insights genuinely surprised me. Willow was clearly very familiar with my work and style. Even the subtle details and small creative touches I designed, things most people overlooked, she could precisely catch and offer reasonable critiques and suggestions. Aside from my former online girlfriend, it had been a long time since I met someone who understood me like this. Too bad that one turned out to be a catfish. My previously foggy mind suddenly burst with inspiration. I pulled her into discussion until midnight. I had no memory of when I fell asleep. All I knew was that when I woke up, Willow was clinging to me like an octopus. She was sleeping deeply. Her brows relaxed. Her peaceful sleeping face was even more beautiful than any fairy tale princess I had imagined. I couldn't resist leaning in to kiss her. The movement was light, but she woke up instantly. Her usually cool gaze went blank for a moment when she saw me, as if her brain had short-circuited. "Willow, thank you." I grabbed her hand. Because of the momentum, I tipped backward, pulling her down so she ended up pressing against me. Willow let out a soft hum. I closed my eyes, expectantly waiting for the plot to continue. Instead, she pushed me away and sat up. "If you really want to thank me, come with me to a gathering." I laughed in disbelief. "That's it." Chapter 10. On the day of the gathering, Willow brought me to a familiar private room in the club. My feelings were complicated for a moment. They became even more complicated when I saw the man in the center who looked 60% like me. Sitting beside him was my ex-girlfriend, Sophia. She swept a cold glance at me, but the moment she turned to the man, her expression instantly softened. The man had fair features and an elegant, gentle temperament. He treated everyone with refined courtesy. Even toward me, the former stand-in, he remained perfectly polite, without the slightest trace of sarcasm. When others cast curious looks my way, he even stepped in to ease the tension for me. "Hello, George. I'm Makoto. You must be Sophia's boyfriend." Truly impressive. He raised his glass to clink with mine. Sophia stopped him gently and said in a soft, doting tone, "Makoto, drink less." But Makoto turned and rolled his eyes at her. "Who are you? Since when do you get to manage me?" Sophia froze in embarrassment, her face dark as the bottom of a pot. I couldn't help laughing out loud. She snapped her head toward me and glared. A few minutes later, my phone vibrated. Somehow, Sophia had gotten my new number and sent me a message. "What are you laughing at? Look to your right." On my right sat Willow. When I looked over, her gaze was resting gently on Makoto. Someone had placed a shrimp in his bowl. Willow casually and naturally picked it out of his bowl. "Sorry, he's allergic to seafood." No one thought it strange. It was as if this had always been their dynamic. Noticing my stare, she asked without any awareness, "Do you want it?" The air suddenly felt suffocating. I shook my head and looked down at the message again. It seemed I truly couldn't laugh anymore. Chapter 11. I made an excuse to go to the restroom. As soon as I stepped out, I ran into Sophia. Her slightly hoarse voice sounded near my ear. "George, do you really think Willow approached you without a purpose?" Look up, look ahead. On the empty terrace, only Willow and Makoto stood together. They looked at the night view side by side, occasionally turning to glance at each other. The stars and night breeze were mere decoration. The intimacy in their eyes needed no explanation. "She's the one who cares about Makoto the most. She brought you here so you'd face reality. You're just a stand-in." My throat felt dry. "Sophia, what are you trying to say?" She paused. Her slender, fair fingers turned my face toward hers. Our eyes met. Every emotion was laid bare. Sophia's expression darkened instantly, a hint of panic surfacing. "George, don't tell me you've actually fallen for Willow." I shook off her hand. "What does that have to do with you?" She let out a cold laugh, though bitterness flickered in her eyes. "We were together for nearly 2 years. How long have you two even been together? How can you not feel even a trace of attachment toward me? George, do you even have a heart?" Sophia stepped closer, almost grinding the question out through her teeth. Her once obedient, clear kitten-like eyes were now an unnatural red. I scoffed, looking at her with ridicule. "What's there to miss about a relationship built on lies? Stop pretending. We both got what we wanted. No one gets to condemn anyone. Okay." She froze. For a split second, her swaying figure looked like an abandoned animal, on the verge of collapse. I stepped past her, about to leave, but Sophia grabbed me again. A scorching tear slid down onto my arm. "George, I miss you. Come back." "Okay. I'll give you money, any amount. Just don't be with her." I said nothing. I shook off her hand and walked away. Sigh. When would she understand? I'm not that desperate for money. I'm just hopelessly shallow. Chapter 12. When I realized I had started looking forward to chatting with Willow, not just craving her body, I grew troubled. Once feelings got involved, our mutually beneficial arrangement would no longer stay pure. Should I continue or retreat? Today, Willow made the decision for me. Maybe Sophia was right. Maybe she had brought me there as a warning not to fall for her. No wonder she wouldn't let me touch her. Turns out she was saving herself for her true love. After we got back, I claimed I felt dizzy and went to my room early. Soon, Willow knocked on my door. She had made me a sobering soup. "Drink this before sleeping. You'll feel better." I nodded and finished it in one go. "Thanks." She didn't move for a long while. I couldn't help glancing at her. "Is there something else?" Her lips pressed tightly together, brows unconsciously furrowed. It seemed she had mustered up courage for a long time before asking, "Why did you drink so much today?" My mind instantly turned into chaos. I didn't know how to answer. When I lowered my gaze, her slightly cold voice sounded beside me. "Was it because of Sophia?" "You're overthinking it," I replied. Willow was clearly dissatisfied with that answer. She picked up the bowl and turned to leave. That was how she showed she was angry. The best solution would have been to chase after her and coax her. But when I came back to my senses, I was startled. Since when did I understand her so well? Still, I didn't move. I wrapped myself tightly in the blanket and slept peacefully. I had already bought tomorrow's ticket to leave. There was no need to explain anything further. When I woke up, Willow was indeed nowhere to be seen. But breakfast was still warm in the kitchen. Heartless as ever, I finished eating and left her a note. I only dated you because I thought you were a model. Turns out you won't even let me touch you. Boring. Let's break up. Willow didn't seem like the clingy type, so I boarded my flight with complete confidence. The moment I landed, I saw someone I thought I'd finally escaped from. Chapter 13. Are you stalking me? Autumn had already arrived, the air turning chilly. Sophia walked toward me in a gray trench coat. She avoided my question, her brows and eyes filled with delight. Since you two broke up, can I pursue you again? I dragged my suitcase toward the exit. Sorry, I don't go back to my exes. Sophia forcefully grabbed my luggage. I'll give you a ride. It's on the way. Sophia, do you not understand human language? I rarely lost my patience like this. She smiled at me, but her eyes seemed covered in a layer of mist. I understand, but what can I do? I don't want to let go. When you make a mistake, you apologize and make amends. George, at least give me a chance. The driver I'd booked arrived and honked at me. I snatched back my suitcase and left. After I got into the car, the driver glanced at the rearview mirror and chuckled. Kid, fighting with your girlfriend. I looked back. Sophia's car was chasing right behind us. Suppressing my irritation, I said, ex-girlfriend, still harassing me after the breakup. The driver immediately grew serious. No worries. Trust my driving skills. I'll shake her off in minutes. The next second, I was thrown backward in my seat. The car shot forward, weaving through streets and alleys, turning corner after corner until we finally lost her. By the time we reached the guest house, I nearly threw up. The driver proudly thumped his chest. Mission accomplished. With a pale face, I gave him a thumbs up. Thank you, sir. This small town was a niche travel destination I'd researched for a long time. It was off-season now, yet the scenery was beautiful, perfect for staying a while. Over the next few days, I wandered around the town. My whole body felt warm and relaxed. Passing by a milk tea shop, I noticed it had far more customers than the others. I walked over and locked eyes with Sophia, who was wearing the shop's employee uniform. I was speechless. So it wasn't that the milk tea tasted good. It was that the staff was pretty. She froze for a second, then her face lit up with joy. What would you like to drink? For a moment, I felt dazed. It was as if I saw the old her again, obedient, well-behaved, always brimming with enthusiasm. I looked away and turned to leave. Chapter 14. From that day on, I saw Sophia everywhere, handing out flyers in the morning, making milk tea in the afternoon, volunteering in the community at night, even picking up trash. Wasn't she copying my old persona? She wiped the sweat from her forehead, breathing slightly hard. So this is how hard you had it back then. I'm sorry. I glanced at her, my tone light. It wasn't hard. Under her complicated and moved gaze, I smiled faintly. After all, I never actually did any of that. Sophia's face filled with question marks. After that day, I stopped going out. When I woke up and headed downstairs for breakfast, I accidentally knocked off a new tenant's sun hat at the corner of the stairs. I quickly picked it up. Sorry about that, George. His delighted voice made me freeze. I looked up at him and went numb. Wasn't this supposed to be a niche tourist spot? Why was everyone I knew here? Makoto was enthusiastic and insisted on treating me to a meal. Didn't expect to run into you here. What a coincidence. Came alone. I felt awkward and answered vaguely before changing the subject. You here alone too? He scratched his head, lips pressing together shyly. No, I came with my fiancé. For a moment, my breathing stalled. Our seats were by the window, overlooking the street. Makoto pointed at a pastry shop. She's buying snacks for me over there. I followed his gesture. It was a beautiful, unfamiliar woman, carrying bags full of food, smiling gently. Then you and Willow. Before I realized it, the question had already slipped out. Makoto's eyes widened. Wait, you didn't misunderstand something, did you? Willow is my cousin. Didn't she tell you? I peacefully closed my eyes. All Sophia's fault. Chapter 15. That night, Sophia knocked on my door. George, let's talk. There's nothing to talk about. Fine, then I'll just sit here and not leave. After half an hour, she really showed no intention of leaving. I finally lost my patience and flung the door open. What exactly do you want? She was sitting on the floor, arms wrapped around her knees, paired with those bewitching kitten-like eyes. She looked pitiful beyond words, just like the day I first picked her up. Sophia reacted quickly and squeezed into the room. She hugged me tightly. George, let's get back together. Okay. At first I did treat you as a stand-in, but you and Makoto are completely different. I never truly saw you as him. Makoto said he looked down on me. He said what I did disrespected both you and him. He told me to ask my own heart. My heart tells me I fell for you long ago. I just refused to admit it. I was wrong. Can you forgive me this once? The more I struggled, the tighter she held me. Her burning breath clung to my skin. She played the innocent prey, luring me step by step. Gidge, didn't you like my body the most? You can do whatever you want, just don't leave me. Her soft, Seductive voice lowered gradually. She took my hand and guided it toward her chest. Then further down. I was stunned. Since when did Sophia become so bold? Before I could react, a familiar figure rushed in. Sophia was shoved back again, stumbling hard. Willow looked at her coldly. Wouldn't it be better to disappear quietly once you faded out? How did you even find this place? Heh, petty tricks are all you're capable of. You think deliberately making George misunderstand my relationship with my cousin would let you sneak back in? Dream on. I looked at Willow. She seemed slimmer these days. Her white dress was wrapped tightly around her, but during the scuffle, the lace edges of her lingerie briefly showed. Sophia's face darkened as she cursed. Who the hell are you dressing like that to seduce? Willow didn't get angry, she smiled instead, even lifting her brow as if showing off. Didn't you say I was a model? I'm just doing what models do. Sophia took a deep breath, furious. Have you no shame? And you do? You were just trying to seduce someone else's boyfriend. If you're that desperate, go home. Sophia was clearly at a disadvantage now. She received another slap. This time she didn't fight back. She only looked at me helplessly. I sighed. From the day you lied to me, this ending was inevitable. Sophia, leave yourself a little dignity. Her proud posture finally collapsed at that moment. Chapter 16. After Sophia left, I was weighing how to speak. Willow didn't ask a single question. She turned, shut the door, and locked it. Then she silently opened the black suitcase she had brought. Silver handcuffs, uniforms, blindfolds, a small whip, ropes. My pupils trembled. I stepped back in shock. Why you? Willow looked up, her gaze aggressive and fixed on me. She stepped closer and closer. My throat suddenly felt dry. What are you doing? Willow moved close and kissed me on her tiptoes. Tonight, my body is yours to command. When a beautiful woman willingly plays along and tempts you again and again, who could possibly resist? I decided to follow my heart and pulled her into my arms. All the pent-up frustration and longing dissolved into a wild, lingering kiss. Desire fell like spring rain, steady and unending. As night deepened, the rain grew heavier, tirelessly beating against the windows. Turns out, suppressing things for too long really does cause problems. The tide surged again and again against the shore. We nearly went on until dawn. When my head finally touched the soft pillow, I was drifting into sleep, but I didn't forget one important thing. Willow, can you tell me about your first love? Her hand paused in my hair. Her voice still carried a faint huskiness. He said I was a liar. So he dumped me. Willow buried her face in my neck, her voice muffled. I've never seen someone so unreasonable. Being born into a good family wasn't my fault. My feelings were complicated, half amused, half inexplicably sour. Chapter 17. Makoto is also a comic enthusiast. The reason he and Willow are so close is because they share the same hobby. He even told me that he had known about me for a long time, long before now. Back in my freshman year, I had an online girlfriend. My drawing style was still immature then, but she was my die-hard fan. After we added each other, we chatted every day. When you meet someone whose thoughts and soul align with yours, it's hard not to fall for them. Naturally, we got together. The day she suggested meeting in person, I learned about her family background. A wealthy family in a city, studied at a prestigious university abroad, planned to return home to inherit the family business after graduation. Especially when she mentioned her grandfather grew tea leaves and wanted to send me some. I instantly snapped out of it. Wasn't this obviously a tea scam setup? First, what rich second-generation heir has nothing better to do than start an online romance? Second, the selling tea scam routine had been talked about to death, so I broke up with her, claiming I had to return home to mourn and observe 3 years of filial piety. Then I blocked and deleted every contact method she had. Who would have thought my online girlfriend was actually Willow? Makoto said he teased Willow about it for a long time. Yet after all the twists and turns, we still found each other. Looking at her leaning against my chest, I asked, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Willow was silent for a moment. "I knew you were only attracted to my body. I wanted you to get to know me. Trust me, little by little. George, we have a long time ahead of us. There's no rush. I love you." She kissed my cheek reverently. My eyes felt slightly warm. Dawn broke. I reached out and pushed open the window. The rising sun leapt from behind the mountains, slowly climbing upward. This was the first sunrise we watched together. In the future, there would be many more. Chapter 18. After returning to a city, nothing had changed, yet everything felt different. For example, Makoto and I became good friends. For example, Willow and I went from 2 rooms to 1. Sophia never disturbed me again. She joined the company on her own initiative, shedding her former aimlessness and becoming mature and steady. Whenever her recent situation came up in conversation, Willow's gaze would carefully scan every inch of my face, not missing even the slightest micro-expression, afraid I might show a hint of nostalgia. especially on the day I proposed to Willow. Sophia sent me a message. If you regret it, I can crash the wedding anytime. Willow went to give Sophia another slap. Yet it still didn't completely ease her insecurity. Amused, I turned her face toward me, though she tried to act indifferent. Don't worry. From the moment we broke up, I was done with her. Willow looked at me suspiciously. Even if she stripped and stood in front of you right now, you'd turn and walk away. My speechlessness was misinterpreted as guilt, so I picked her up over my shoulder and carried her toward the bedroom. We went at it back and forth the entire night again. The next morning, she faced away from me, her long dress wrapped tightly around her, as if she hadn't been the one who lost control the night before. Looking at the bite marks on my chest, I protested weakly. Are you a cat? Why are you biting? Willow glanced at me sideways. Of course, if I don't mark my territory, what if some shameless vixen takes advantage? I wrapped my arms around her waist from behind. Willow, I love you. Her body stiffened instantly at those words. All her anxiety and insecurity slowly melted away. Willow turned and threw herself into my arms. She buried her face in my neck and inhaled deeply, almost greedily. After a long moment, I heard her whisper a single word into my ear.